by Chef Gregory Leon. Is that right? Leon?
Leon, yeah, correct.
The owner of, I'm going to mispronounce
Melinda.
Amilinda in
Correct.
Milwaukee. And Chef Gregory's been nominated for 4 James Beard Awards and is part of the downtown Milwaukee scene. And welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, thanks for participating. Couple questions. You were sharing some of your background with me. Would you share it with the audience? How'd
Sure.
you get here?
I'm originally from Oklahoma. That's where I was born. When I was 5, my family and I relocated to Venezuela, where we lived till 1989. Moved back to
Wow.
Oklahoma. Yeah. So I was there for about 14 years. Moved back to Oklahoma just because that's where my grandparents were living at the time. And then in 1992, I decided that I wanted to start a career in the restaurant industry as a chef. So I moved out to California, and I was in San Francisco for 18 years, where I got most of my on-the-job training. During those 18 years, I would fly off and work in Spain for a while. There's a chef in Madrid who was my mentor for many years. And then in 2012, after being in California for 18 years, I decided it was time for a change. So my dog and I packed up our belongings and traveled most of spring and summer of 2012. And we were going to move to Portland, Oregon. And I had a friend who was like, come visit Milwaukee. I think you'll like it. And so I came to visit and liked it so much, I decided to stay. We
Never
started
left.
Amilinda, right? We started Amilinda as a pop-up restaurant in December of 2013. And for those of you who are not familiar with what a pop-up restaurant is we would pop up at a friend's establishment. So my friend Nell Benton used to own the National Cafe, and they were only open during the day. So on Saturday nights, we would turn the National into Amilinda. We did that for about a year, and then finished with the pop-ups in January of 2015. And in August of 2015, we opened Amilinda in downtown Milwaukee, where we've been for the past 10 years.
Sweet. So, you must have seen, I mean, obviously with COVID and all that crap, you've seen a lot of ups and downs in the industry in general.
Correct.
Let's set COVID aside. I know you guys, everybody had to work their asses off basically to survive that, which is awesome. But beyond that big ass life lesson that, no, people aren't going to forget, what are a couple other lessons that you picked up along the way? People think running a business and starting a business is easy. We don't think that's actually true, but they'd rather hear it from y'all than from us.
I mean, I think if you're sitting on a giant pile of cash, maybe it is easy for you, but not a lot of small independently owned businesses, especially restaurants, are sitting on a giant pile of cash.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned is be flexible and be willing to evolve your business and pivot when needed. When I sat down and wrote the business plan for Amilinda 10 years ago,
hmm
there were lots of things that I'm like, oh, this is how it's going to work. This is what we want to do. And as you operate the business and as it's open day in, day out, maybe some of the things that you originally wanted to do don't fit the model or just don't fit the market. Maybe some things
Sure.
that you thought were not going to be good for the business end up being good for it. So it's good to be flexible, be willing to pivot. Also surround yourself with people who might know more about things that you don't, and always don't be afraid as the owner to ask questions and look for advice from those who you're bringing on as a team. I don't know, or I mean, I know more now than I did 10 years ago, but when I opened, there was a lot of aspects of owning a restaurant that I was unfamiliar with. So I made a point of bringing people onto the team who knew or were more knowledgeable about certain things that I wasn't. So always surround yourself with people that can bring something to the table, and don't be afraid to admit perhaps you don't know everything, you don't have all the answers.
I mean, can I put you on the spot and ask like a
Sure.
couple specific examples of that? Like, I think this ask for help and the
Yeah.
ability to attract people that are smarter than you is critical for business owners.
Yeah.
But I also think that a lot of the people that are in the day-to-day, brush fire of business don't stop and think about, I could ask for help on this, for example, or they
Correct.
start thinking that they should only ask for help on, the grand gesture. But can you share a couple examples of somebody just gave you something, you're like, oh man, that's good, I'm going to use that.
Well, one of the greatest pieces of advice I got, and I actually just got this maybe about like 3 years ago. After COVID, we found ourselves in a financial situation where we could not get ahead of ourselves financially.
Yep.
Like we
Yep.
were making enough money to pay our bills, but we would pay our bills. By the end of the week, we were in the red again. And so I brought in a consultant from the West Coast. She has 2 restaurants out in Seattle,
Hmm.
very well-known restaurants, and she seems to be doing okay. So one of the pieces of advice that she gave me, and I wish somebody would have given me this advice when we opened, was have 3 bank accounts.
Yep.
And she came to me, she's like, have 3 bank accounts. And I was like, well, I barely have enough money to fill one. What do I need 3 for?
Right.
So she
Right.
says, and this is specific to the restaurant. So have 3 bank accounts. You have your normal bank account where all the deposits go into every night and where your bills come out of. You have one labeled taxes and you have one labeled payroll. And so every morning when I come in, open my laptop, look and see what the sales were for the night before. And then I look and see out of all that money that was deposited in my account, how much of that was tips? Because that's not
Yep.
my money. So you take
Gotcha.
that tip money out, you put it in the payroll account. It's
Yep.
already there. You then look at your sales and use tax. How much sales tax did you collect? You take that amount and you put it in your tax account. So it's a
Yep.
lot easier to take 30, 40, $200 out a day than at the end of the month. Oh, I've got to pay my sales and use tax. I got to pull $4,000 out of my year. So
Right.
that was actually one of the biggest and best piece of advice somebody ever gave me.
I mean, if you're listening to this, that works in every business.
Okay,
So, I mean,
cool.
obviously tips and payroll.
Yeah.
So remember when you were a kid in high school, we had that little like, cascading experiment where when the top thing gets full, then you go to the next one and the next one. So there is a 4th one, which is profit. And
Yeah.
unfortunately for lots of businesses, that's the one that never really
That's the one
gets
that never
con-
really fills.
That's right. But the way you're doing it is right in line with, whatever came in. The first one is an operating account. Yours is payroll. For most people, payroll is the biggest chunk of money.
Yeah.
And then when the payroll bucket's full for the month or however long somebody's going to keep their payroll ahead of time, the rest spills over into, taxes and then into operating accounts. So that works in all businesses, that lesson. How about one more? Put you on the spot for one more.
Another one would be, let me see, let me think about this real quick. Another one would be, oh, you are putting me on the spot. I think like just asking for help. Like if there's
Yeah.
something you don't know, just because you have the title of owner doesn't mean that you need to know everything. So don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah. A lot of people get stuck. They think they have to be it, right? But,
Yeah,
as great of a chef as you are, there's hundreds of thousands of restaurants. So there's people
there's a
that
lot
do
of
what you
them.
do. There are people that have cracked some of the codes that businesses struggle with. So, I mean, it can be as profound as how you manage money like that, or as
Sorry,
simple
my
as,
old bread delivery guy just showed up to say hi. I apologize.
Say hi.
oh, that's cool.
It's good seeing you. It's not necessarily a piece of advice somebody's given me. It's a piece of advice I've given other people is make your team, especially, and this can apply for any business, but make your team feel like there is some kind of ownership in what they're doing. I don't expect them to put money into the restaurant
Right.
and be financially tied up with that. But we have a very small menu. We only have 12 items on the menu. So I want them to contribute to the menu. I want them to come to me with ideas.
Okay.
Are there ideas? Do their ideas always fit into what we're doing? No, sometimes, we'll guide them. Hey, no, I feel like this ingredients is more. So we specialize in the food from the Iberian Peninsula. So both Spain and Portugal. So, sometimes they'll come to me with a dish and I'm like, well, that really feels very Asian to me because of these ingredients. What if we change these out? But I feel like if you give the people that are working for you a sense of ownership, they're going to go above and beyond. And they're going to have
Yeah.
pride in the work that they do.
Yeah. Let's flip the other side. What's your favorite part about being a business owner?
Oh,
Or
wow,
isn't
my
there any?
favorite. No, there are some. I
One
my
guy, one guy
favorite.
told me I regret it every day. I'm like, wow, man,
I don't regret it every day. I don't think I've ever woken up and regretted it. I mean, there's days when I wake up and I was just like, here we go again.
yeah,
But what are some of the, I like, one of the things that I love the most about being a business owner is being able to have a space where I can help people further their career, give them an opportunity to shine. We turned 10 this past summer and we
I
did a lot
mean,
of
usually
interviews.
it's like 8% of businesses will ever make that.
Yeah, that's what people tell me.
It's a tiny, tiny
I
percentage. So
try not to let it go
congratulations.
to my head though. So thank you very much. Um, I've always wanted to create a space where people could come in, feel comfortable and, blossom in their career. As I was saying, we did a bunch of interviews this year and people were asking us what I wanted my legacy to be. Um, and Amilinda's legacy to be and how I would measure success. And my answer was always, I measure our success by seeing how well the people who've worked here are doing when they've moved on
That's pretty
and
cool.
how their careers are taken. And I have to say, I'm incredibly proud of what a lot of my old sous chefs and cooks are doing now. It makes me feel good.
Was there somebody in your past that did that for you that caused you, like, what causes you to think that way? That's pretty unique.
I think my parents were really good at the way they raised us. They raised us to be very humble and that nobody is better than anybody else because of the title or the money they make or the color of their skin. But I also, along the way, have had a lot of people who helped us. As I was saying, we started off as a pop-up restaurant. If it wasn't for Nell Benton, who used to be the owner of the National, saying yes to that pop-up, I don't know if we would be here today. So
Sure.
it's good to pay it forward. Again, when I moved to San Francisco, I had zero restaurant experience. I had zero kitchen experience. My only restaurant experience was waiting tables at Fridays. And yeah, and this is back in the day when you had to wear the suspenders and all the stuff hanging off the
Nice.
suspenders. So nothing better than bringing food to a table and one of your buttons falls into the French fries. That was always fun. So when I moved to San Francisco, I knew nothing about cooking, nothing. Like I lied on my first application to get a job. Um, and I got fired quickly after that because they could tell I didn't know what I was doing. But then
Yeah.
when I went to apply for my second job, I was open and honest with the chef, and he said, "We will train you, we will teach you. You're gonna have to work hard, and you're gonna have to do crappy work." But and
Yeah.
so, there were several chefs along the way who did that for me. So it's good to pay it forward.
Yeah. All right, man. You're a highly efficient interviewee. I have one
Thank you.
question for you that nobody ever wants. That
Sure.
question uh, is there something you wish I would have asked you? And consider that asked.
God, let's see. Is there something I wish you would have asked me? Um, sure. Well, the answer to that question will be is if you're going to get into the restaurant business because you want to be famous or rich, save yourself the headache. You have to get into this business because you like working with food, you like feeding people, you like to have that social connection. Um, that's why you should do it. But don't get into this business because you want to be famous or you want to be rich, because very few of us are famous or rich.
I mean, you look pretty happy though. I gotta
I
say.
mean, pretty happy. I'm not famous or rich though, but I'm pretty happy. I have an incredible restaurant. I have a staff that they're amazing. My staff cares not because I paid them to. They care because they care. Um, they treat this restaurant as if it was theirs. The city of Milwaukee has welcomed us with open arms. Yeah, I'm glad that we opened Amilinda here in Milwaukee.
Yeah. All right. So all of you that are listening to this, the restaurant business is one of the toughest businesses that we know of. So Chef Gregory can go work, day to day with a smile on their face. It's probably not, whatever you think is happening to you, it's probably not that bad. So Chef Gregory,
Thank you, sir.
great interview. Appreciate it. It's
Thank you.
great to meet you and all of you listening. Amilinda is your address one more time.
Our address is 315 East Wisconsin Avenue. We are on East Wisconsin Avenue between Broadway and Milwaukee, just a few blocks down from the Art Museum and the Pfister Hotel.
Awesome. All right. Thanks again, Chef Gregory.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite.
Yep.